So far my message has been about revolution in education sector, in our education system. And so far I've sent out message to the teachers, I've sent out message to the parents, and this address goes to institutions, different institutions of the academic sector, beginning from the primary institution down to the secondary and then the tertiary institution. Now, first and foremost, for the institution, the school grading system, and especially the secondary school, the nursery and primary school session, this school grading system, it gives more preference to students with high verbal and logical abilities. And that ought not to be so, because not all students have high abilities in this area. So students who have high creativity do not stand a chance to be announced, to be called out as the best student, the overall best, first position, second position, and third position, and all whatnot. And we have to consider what um, Robert Kiyosaki says in his book, Why A Students Work for C Students and B Students Work for the Government. Now, the school system trains employees rather than entrepreneurs. That's the school system. So when the school is the institution emphasis is on acquiring jobs, job security, rather than financial freedom and development of children, it's very worrisome. The school doesn't the school system now, you know does not teach students how they can leverage on their potentials to achieve, to live a better life in our society today. Now, the institutions, the academic institutions, they have to help students to develop the 21st century, skills that is required to live a better life and also to be better citizens. Now, at the end at the end of every graduating year, your work as an institution is not done when you graduate out students with certificates. Rather, it's only done when you help each student to fulfill their dreams, their passion, and also their purpose in life. First and foremost, I want to say that, um, rather, secondly, the school system, the school, employment system focuses more on the curriculum vitae, the certificate that employees have, rather than people who are called for the jobs, people who are develop their talent, who have acquired skills. I consider certification as skills acquired on a particular, talent. That's the skill you have acquired as regards developing a particular talent that has been that is inbuilt already. So, if what are your basis for employment? Are you employing um, are you employing teachers based on their certification, or you're employing them based on their the potentials, their talents? That means the people who are really called for the job. There are called teachers, and there are teachers that are, called teachers means they are engraced for teaching, while others just acquire the teaching skills. So the difference between the two groups of people is that one will perform better than the other. One will perform better than the other. In fact, a call teacher can easily learn on the job and perform better than someone who acquired skill in teaching. Quote me and quote me very well. A call teacher can achieve better even learning on the job than somebody who acquired just the teaching school. Why am I saying this? A call teacher will is sponsored by the Spirit. A call teacher will bring in ideas, download ideas that can help any student to be able to achieve better, to perform better, rather than a skilled teacher. A skilled teacher will only deploy what he or she was taught. Rather, when you notice between a skilled teacher and a called teacher, somebody that is called will deploy more synergy, co-creation way of teaching rather than the perspective way of teaching. So what are your basis of employment for institution? Another thing I want institutions to consider is you have to deploy you have to deploy certain things, certain strategies that would help the students to be better citizens even at the end of achieving the skills in your school and graduating out. You need to deploy a, a, a reason from first principle. Now first principle considers the components, the elements, knowledge, or the primary causes or the foundation of a particular entity. Now, some of us are familiar to the story of how Elon Musk started his SpaceX company. He needed a spacecraft and then he ordered for it. The amount was overwhelming, so he had to call somebody and ask, tell me the components of this spacecraft, reduce it down to components. And when he was able to achieve that, he gave out $5,000 for a prototype of it to be made. And that is how his SpaceX company started. So if you have the end product in mind, you can know what to bring into play in order to achieve what your goal is. That is where I draw your attention to what I call the seed principle. This principle, this has been tested and this has been proven to be effective in teaching and also in helping children to achieve their purpose. Now, the seed principle, it consists of 12 tribes. I mean the 12 tribes of Israel, and then the 12 talents. So every individual belongs to a particular tribe of Israel according to Revelations chapter 7. They've listed out the tribes there, and also in Genesis chapter 49, Deuteronomy chapter 33, they've listed out the tribes there, and there are certain characteristics that pertains to different tribes which could be brought into the school academics system. Now the 12 talents identifies different career platform, different career choices that an individual is ordained to function in. That is what 12 tribes is about, and 12 talents is about. While the 12 tribes mostly identify a person's in behavioral characteristics and other things. Down the 12 talents identifies the career choice of a particular person. Now, if this is deployed in the school system and then a curriculum built around it, every child will not be trained the same way, and we will not be graduating employees rather than people who have developed their inbuilt potentials and talents. Now, in order to avoid trials and error in their life, in their career choices, I strongly believe every child at the age of 12 should be fully launched into his or her career path. Jesus showed us this pathway. He came in as a way, and so he showed us the age of 12 he was already in synagogue, learning what was written about him. And everyone has to follow this path. At the age of 12, a child should be placed where he ought to function. Is that child a potential doctor? Is the child a potential engineer or a lawyer, or an academician, or any area, any career path that these children have been called to function? These the children has to be placed. So school systems, most especially the primary school and the secondary school system, must create curriculum. Is it extra curricular activities in order to bring in these teachings, in order to bring in this 12 tribes and the seed principle, to help these children achieve their purpose on it. If a child's talent is trained, is developed, you develop skills based on the talents that you have to hone this talent. I can tell you that before the age of 15, these children will achieve better. Take for instance, I personally have a child that he's a Levi. Levi's are born teachers. He's a Levi, and in addition to being a born teacher, his talent is also teaching talent. So you see, there was an issue with a particular child in the school. Now, a 4-year-old child could not, he couldn't write. He could speak, but he had problems with writing. He didn't, he could not, make a correct pronunciation or in everything, at least. But there were lapses in that child, and so the mother came and was looking for solutions. I had taught the child, but then I now I was given an idea. What if somebody who has the teaching talent, because I don't have a teaching talent, I just develop skills in teaching. What if somebody with a teaching talent handles this child? This will go beyond teaching into impactation. And so what I did, I told the parent, I told the mother to that child that definitely your child will be helped. I helped that child to a certain level. Now it needs further help. And so I deployed the services of my son. And I can tell you, at the age of 7, the child had to come to the house to be taught in some selected days. My son at that age, at age 7, was already making money because the parents he had to be paid in order to do that. So no children is a liability. Every child has the potential to live better even at a young age. I have seen a child that plays excellently, very well, plays good A even at 9 years. So if children are rightly, I have seen a child in one of those Mythbuster program. Children at the age of 12, they are engineers. At the age of 15, he has even gotten to the PhD level. I mean, it is achievable in every children. It is achievable. It's just to identify your child's career path and plant that child right where the child ought to function, developing these skills early. And so if we can bring this into the institution, it will help the society very easily. Now, for the tertiary institution, admission based on slots, admission based on a competency in verbal and linguistic skills has to be aborted. You need to know, is this person called in to function in this particular space? I personally studied microbiology. It was a wrong choice of course for me. I am not a pure science based, rather I'm under entrepreneurship science. So I should have gone for business admin department. But no, I did not, because I did not know it. I later had to do it. In my late 20s, that I had to be enrolled to study business admin in order to develop my talent. And that was actually late. If I had used the other youthful, I entered into university before the age of 20, if I had used that, if I had, ventured into the right choice of course, and then, developed my skill, I would even have performed better. So I implore you, the institution, to create curriculums, create basis where, students can actually develop skills, 21st century skills, based on their inborn talents, in order to have to help in human capital development, in order to lift this country to a better place.